Hello, this screencast is going to focus on the impacts of your topic. Specifically, you're going to be creating a keyword search list. And with that keyword search list, you're going to complete source check number 3. And this is for the 7th grade history research project. For starters, what is due today is the 40 plus historical context notes on background and buildup. This is the focus of this lesson. You're going to conference with your teacher on Google Meet to discuss what the impact should be. He will give you some suggestions. Number 2, you're going to perform a keyword search after receiving those suggestions on the impacts of your topic. And number 3, you're going to locate, evaluate, and record 3 new sources for the impacts of your topic. If you haven't done so yet, please sign up for your Impact Conference. The links are right here, depending on your period. Check your email. You're going to receive an email that has a link to your Google Meet. And then you just need to go there at that time. And then there is no whole class virtual meeting on the 30s, on Monday 4/20 and Tuesday 4/21. You only have your one-on-one 10-minute meeting with your teacher. Activity 2 is to plan your impacts with your teacher. That's during that 10-minute meeting. These links here will quickly take you to your notes page. Right now you're watching the screencast, so we can move on to activity 4, which is the keyword search list for your impacts. You're using that same notes Google Doc and creating a keyword search list for the impacts. After creating that keyword search list, you're going to use it to find 3 or 4 new sources for the impacts of your topic. And this is a link to Sweet Search, which is a great search engine for finding websites for middle schoolers. This is the homework, and you can see you're receiving points for signing up for the lesson, so make sure, or for the conference, so make sure you do that. And then your keyword search list is worth points. And then your source check number 3 is points. And remember, there are office hours Monday and Wednesday as well as Friday. And you just click the link here to sign up for those office hours so you can meet one-on-one with your teacher if you have questions. All right, so the assignments that are due is sign up for the conference. And that is where you meet with Mr. Mendez first. You need to do that first before you can do anything, because he's going to help you plan your keyword search list as well as what you're going to use for your source check. Keyword search on impacts is the short-term and long-term subtopics will come out of the conference with your teacher. Remember, they are just suggestions. As you do research, you might find more suitable short-term and long-term impact topics. And source check number 3 is you're going to come out with 3 or 4 new sources that focus on the short-term and long-term impacts, and those are reliable sources. So ones you know where the information is factual and current. And then you have some due dates here. Due Wednesday 4/22 is these 3 assignments if you're in periods 2 and 4. Due Thursday 4/23, periods 1, 3, and 7 will have these 3 assignments due. This is where you sign up if you haven't done so yet. Follow the links on the lesson plan and sign up for your time. The available times are here in silver. During the conference, Mr. Mendez will post a link to the Google Meet on Veracross, and you will receive via email your actual link that you go to in order to have the meeting. So check your email after you've signed up for a meeting. Mr. Mendez will help you plan the impacts of your topic during this conference. You're going to create a keyword search list. You're going to find 3 or 4 reliable sources on the impacts, and you are required to meet virtually on Google Meet with Mr. Mendez before you create that keyword search list or find those 3 or 4 new sources. So the meeting comes first. So you could stop this screencast now and wait till after the meeting, then pick up where you left off. So the keyword search, this is all review, but you need to include your term in most of your searches. That's one important thing. I've been looking at some of the searches and people aren't including their topic or their subtopic, like short-term and long-term, in every single search. And then these other recommendations, dates, the locations, the fact that it's U.S. history, putting your age level or school level, middle school, other related terms. For mine, Voting Rights Act, civil rights is an era, right? Or civil rights movement, 1960s. And then use KidRecs or Sweet Search because they're more appropriate for people your age. And then review, this is the keyword search list on impact. And this is what I would do for mine. So remember, my overall topic is Voting Rights Act of 1965. What my short-term impact of that is that it increased the registration of African American voters. So my first 5 search terms here focus on the Voting Rights Act and how it may have increased participation by African Americans. And then my long-term impact is diversity in Congress. Over the next 20, 30, 40 years, there's been an increase in the diversity of Congress, or that means women participating or people of color participating in Congress and making laws. And that's number maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is focusing on that long-term impact. So evaluating and recording sources. This is just a reminder for your keyword search. Use these 2 search engines. I think that should say Sweet Search, not Smart Search. And then use keywords like cite::org or cite::gov to find those org and gov sites. I do see a lot of people using .com sites, and keep in mind those are commercial. We'll talk about that in a sec. Or cite.edu is an education site. They're just more reliable sites. And then put quotes around the exact phrase. Like this one says Chinese Exclusion Act. You would put quotes around that phrase, and that means it's going to find that exact phrase, Chinese Exclusion Act, as it appears all 3 words together. And just another plug here. Try to avoid using .coms. They're there to sell you something, so the information might be biased. Also, once you're at a source, remember www. Who wrote the source? This one's got the author right there. Why was it written? Well, after looking at it, I can see that this is on Dred and Harriet Scott, and it's providing me with information or their link to Minnesota. When was it written? At the bottom, there is a date of when this was last updated, and it's very current, so it's a good source. Does it help me meet my needs? Well, if I'm writing about Dred and Harriet Scott, yes. Organization of the site. This is very nicely organized if you've ever gone to MNOpedia, and then it has links to other related topics on the side, so it looks like a professional site. And then to-do list. After I've read and looked at the site, does this give me all the information I need? So use this formula once you arrive at a site to see if it is credible and reliable. All right, and then you are doing source check number 3. After you've got that keyword search, you're then going to find 3 or 4 new sources. And you can see I found one on Time Magazine, which is a .com, but I did all the other checks and it proved to be pretty reliable. And then I wrote short-term impact. My source 10 is Our Documents, and that's actual documents from history. And it's a .gov site, and that was part of my short-term impact. So both of these were focusing on how African Americans increased African American participation in voting. And then Pew is a site that does a lot of research and then shows the statistics of that research. And I'm using that for my long-term impact, which is the amount of diversity that is in Congress versus maybe before the 1965 Voting Rights Act. So these are my 3 new sources. Remember, you can find 4 if that's more suitable for you. I wouldn't go beyond that, though. So to review, make sure you sign up for your conference with Mr. Mendez so you can talk about your keyword search list for short-term and long-term impacts. And then you're going to, with that keyword search, use it to find 3 or 4 new sources. And then, of course, these are your due dates, 4/22 if you're in periods 2-4, and 4/23 if you're in periods 1, 3, and 7. And do you need to add more rows to your table? And what I mean by that is some of you might need to add a row to the bottom of your table. The way you do that is you put your cursor in the table that you want to put a new one below, and you right-click. and then you can insert row below. And that opened up a new row that then I can type in and fill information in. And that's helpful because you might be running out of rows before your primary source row. So again, you right click and you insert row below, or you could do one above. Okay, thank you very much for listening.